In the morning of Saturday, January 23, the celebrity solstice docked in Wellington, the capital city and second most populous urban area of New Zealand. Wellington is the world's southernmost capital city of a sovereign state. We disembarked and stopped at the Centreport Wellington office to purchase our shuttle service pass and headed to the Civic Square, located in the heart of Wellington, surrounded by landmark buildings and public sculptures that celebrate New Zealand's culture. Located between the City Gallery and the Town Hall, Wellington Civic Square marks the border between the financial district in the north of the city and the entertainment district in the south. Panoramic view of some of the buildings around the Civic Square. The New Zealand Symphony Orchestra plays at the Michael Fowler Centre, one of the most renowned concert halls and convention venues in the country. In view, one of the 15 sculpted palm trees made from steel, copper and zinc. The Te Aho a Maui, known as the Split Pyramid, represents a mountain that has been divided in two. Between the two pyramids is the walkway that symbolizes a fishing line leading from the mountains to the sea. View of the whimsical City-to-Sea Bridge, a pedestrian flyover that doubles as a public art installation. Wandering along the wonderful Wellington waterfront is one of the Wellington's must-dos. Tanya Ashken is best known for her albatross sculpture, which has been displayed at this location since 1986. Following are pictures of commemorative plaques located on a wall bordering Frank Kids Park. Memorial plaque commemorating the arrival of the United States Marine Corps to New Zealand in 1942. Dibble's Fruit of the Garden sculpture sits at the edge of Frank Kids Park. The Rugby World Cup celebration sculpture depicts two clashing rugby teams rising from the Cook Strait, where the waves from the Pacific Ocean meet the waves of the Tasman Sea. The Great Fisherman Coupe Monument, designed in 1940 for the New Zealand Centennial Exhibition, stood for 50 years in the Wellington Railway. It was then stored as a national treasure until it was permanently located here in the year 2000. Te Raukura, the Waka House of Wellington, houses a conference center, Karaka Cafe and Bar, and Waka. Ikitia is a working self-propelled floating steam crane that is thought to be the only working steam crane of her type in the world.
Hurry back to Rotorua, to the mountains and the valleys, and the rivers that I love. While you're away, oh please remember me.
Outside Te Papa is the beautifully maintained Circa Theatre. Founded in 1976, it's always been known to show cutting-edge drama, and it's a very popular Wellington venue. The facade is the only remaining portion of the Westport Coal Company's building of 1885. It was moved here from its original site across the road, and the theatre was designed around it. The Museum of New Zealand, Te Papa Tongarewa, is the National Museum and Art Gallery of New Zealand. It is branded and commonly known as Te Papa and Our Place. Te Papa Tongarewa is broadly translatable as the place of treasures of this land. The official opening took place on 14 February 1998. The museum had 1 million visitors in the first 5 months of operation, and between 1 and 1.3 million visits have been made in each subsequent year. These 3 boulders symbolize the museum's commitment to the land and people of New Zealand. The largest is the foundation stone and represents Papatuanuku, Mother Earth, the land. It is andesite lava that erupted from Mount Taranaki about 75,000 years ago. This is the flag that New Zealanders might adopt as their new flag in a referendum to be held in March 2016. Using our shuttle service pass, we headed towards Wellington's downtown area, also called the CBD or Central Business District. The Kirkcaldy and Staines store, now a David Jones, with the Forsyth Bar and Bailey's Towers, are an iconic landmark in the heart of the city that offers a distinctive mixture of historic and contemporary architecture. The old Public Trust Office building was completed in 1908. It is the only surviving building made of a true New Zealand granite. It is also believed to be New Zealand's first steel-framed office building. It is a superb example of a public and commercial building of the Edwardian period. This is the former State Insurance building, completed in 1940. The embedded classical columns carrying the former owner's name in bronze letters were completed in 1999. Ruaumoko, the sculpture's broken columns and confusion of bronze letters, looks like the result of an earthquake. The columns and letters came from the demolition in the early 1980s of the State Fire Insurance building, which stood nearby. The Turnbull House was built in 1916 for Alexander Turnbull's private residence and his private library of books, maps, and documents. The Supreme Court of New Zealand is the highest court and the court of last resort, having formally come into existence on 1st January 2004. It replaced the right of appeal to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, based in London. The old High Court building was constructed in brick and concrete instead of wood since the huge earthquake of 1855 and was completed in 1881. The old government building was completed in 1876 and until 1998 was the second largest wooden building in the world after the Todaiji Temple in Nara, Japan. It was built to house New Zealand's civil service and now houses the Victoria University of Wellington's Law School. The Bowen House with the Wellington cenotaph in front of it. The cenotaph is a large and imposing monument to those who had fallen during World War I. The two bronze lions were later added to commemorate those who had fallen in World War II. It is a solid reminder of the sacrifices made by many during wartime. The Beehive is the common name for the executive wing of the New Zealand Parliament buildings that was completed in 1981. It is so called because its shape is reminiscent of that of a traditional woven form of beehive known as a skep. The building is 10 stories and 72 meters high. The top floor is occupied by the Cabinet Room, with the Prime Minister's offices on the floor immediately below. Monument to Richard John Seddon, Member of Parliament and Prime Minister. The main building of the complex is Parliament House, containing the debating chamber, the Speaker's offices, visitors' centre and committee rooms. Unfortunately, it was under renovations. Then comes the Parliamentary Library that was completed in 1899 and is the oldest of the buildings. The library was designed in Gothic Revival style and was fire resistant, being constructed of masonry. It had an iron fire door separating the library from the main entrance section. This saved the library from the fire of 1907, which destroyed the rest of the wooden Parliament buildings. Adorning one of the lawns around the Parliament buildings are these three robust granite block shapes that represent a bird that guides the travelers to their destination, the canoe in which they travel, and the altar they build in the new land as a focus for their future hopes. In view the wooden models of the Navigator, the large granite work by Brett Graham. Monument to Prime Minister John Ballance. Following are front side views of the Wellington Cathedral of St. Paul of the Anglican faith. On the way back to Brandon Street to take the shuttle back to the pier, I captured pictures of some unusual sculptures around Midland Park. Shells 2002 by Jeff Thompson, casting concrete using corrugated iron as the mold. Woman of Words by Virginia King is a sculpture commemorating the life and work of Wellington and New Zealand's most internationally recognized literary figure, Catherine Mansfield. Vodafone on the Park building, completed in 1999, is a modernist high-rise building constructed of concrete with exterior facades of blue glass. Adorning the park is the ongoing Talk sculptured fountain by Colombian artist Silvia Salgado. The fountain is made out of bronze, steel, and concrete and slate tiles. It represents communication and relationships among friends and families. Then it was on to the shore excursion Wellington at Ease, that started with a bus ride to the summit of Mount Victoria for spectacular views of the city, harbor, Tasman Sea and the Pacific Ocean. View of the New Zealand Cricket Museum, located in the historic museum stand at Wellington's iconic Basin Reserve. The monument, in the form of a polar tent below the lookout on Mount Victoria, is a memorial to American polar explorer and aviator Richard Byrd. The Te Papa Tongarewa Museum. The railway station. The Westpac Stadium. Then it was time to head towards the Botanical Gardens for tea and a visit to Lady Norwood Rose Garden. Please stay tuned for part 2 of our Wellington visit.